Today, we're going to put that body on this chassis. Held it. Oh, fell right in the holes. Welcome back to Finnegan's Garage. Today is the end of the contest. Not the end of the channel. Channel's not going anywhere. But this is literally the last day to enter the contest to see maybe my 57 Chevy station wagon in your home garage. And don't forget, whoever wins this thing is gonna have a pretty famous car, because not only is it here on the YouTube channel, obviously, but we made its own t-shirt. Check this out. This whole contest is brought to you by Wirecare, and we had Chris Hosner, the guy that designs most all of our merch, come up with a badass design for this t-shirt, which you can get at fsmgarage.com right now. I mean, what could be cooler than spending some money on a t-shirt and finding out you won a car, or an autographed FSM hat, or a Wirecare Motorsports wiring kit. The whole thing ends today. When you watch this video, go to fsmgarage.com right now to find out more info on how you could win some of this stuff. When this deal started off, I just wanted to turn my wagon into a gasser using some parts I had laying around here. But after I dropped the first video, my buddy Richie Crampton, who owns an awesome place in Indy called Indy Speed Shop, he said, I make a full mandrel bent tube chassis for any Tri-5 Chevy to turn it into a gasser. And I said, I had no idea. I just thought you were a crazy Australian. I didn't know you also made crazy chassis. And he said, yeah, go to woodieshotrods.com and look at them. I'll send you one for your giveaway car. And he did. Somehow, some way, in less than 3 weeks, Richie Crampton MIG welded together this incredible chassis, slid a quick performance 9-inch underneath it, QA1 coilovers, a full straight axle front end from Speedway Motors, a Vega steering box, and had the whole thing powder coated with brake lines. It even came with motor mounts for our small block Chevy. It also came with a transmission mount for our brand new Tremec TKX transmission that we got from American Powertrain. Today, we're going to put that body on this chassis, or at the very least, we're gonna get the old chassis out from under there and figure out what we have to do to make this work. This car that we're gonna give away to you guys is way cooler than I ever thought it could be, and I cannot wait to show it to you. So although the contest ends today, we're gonna keep working on this thing until the end of December when we announce the winner, and at that point, this thing should be running, driving, and doing fat burnouts, and of course, looking like a gasser. So let's get into it, let's show you the chassis, and then let's start getting to the part where we have fun and turn wrenches and make stuff happen. Here's what you need to know about this chassis and all the cool things we are gaining by getting rid of the OEM Tri-5 chassis from the 57. We are going to upgrade from drum brakes to disc brakes. We are now going to a 9-inch rear end with 31 spline axles, way beefier construction. It is mandrel bent, it is made out of 3/16 2x4 rectangular steel tubing, lots of cross members. It has ladder bars, and the ladder bars are triangulated, which in theory would center the rear end left to right, except these are really long ones, and the triangulation is not real aggressive, so it has a panhard bar or a track bar in the back. Where have you seen this before? NASCAR truck arm rear suspension, which we all know works, so I feel this should work. Leaf spring front end. We have the American Racing 200S wheels off of Blasphemy, BF Goodrich Silvertown TA radial tires in the back, chrome reverse steel wheels. This thing is fantastic. According to Richie, the body drops right on. You can reuse the stock gas tank. It's insta-gasser. In theory, in probably a couple of days, you could swap the body off your car onto this, sell the chassis on Facebook Marketplace or give it to a buddy, whatever you want to do, and have a much better project vehicle with a massive head start on getting it finished. I'm stoked for whoever wins. I don't know who it is going to be, but whoever it is going to have a rusty crap box on top of an amazing chassis, and what's cooler than that, right? Nothing.
I'm gonna be bummed to see it go.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna want to give it away.
This is really nice. I'm a little jealous. I feel like this turns out probably as good, if not better, than Blasphemy. Because it's got a Chevy and a Chevy, it probably will run.
Yeah.
All right. So first things first, we're gonna roll our chassis out of the way. We're going to get the 57 up in the air and drop the chassis out underneath it, because Joe has already disconnected everything and pulled the bolts out of it. So this should split right apart and get right into the fun part. Let's put it up. I've actually never been under this car. I'm not gonna miss those wheels. Actually, the wheels are kind of cool, but I'm not gonna miss those tires. If you're gonna have white walls, right? Don't make them weak, suck, skinny 3/4 inch white walls. Don't half-ass your white walls. Go full ass. And hopefully I didn't blow the measurements because we're gonna try to cram a 255 70R15 into the stock wheel well and hopefully not have to tub anything. You know what putting a $17,000 chassis under a rusty boot box like this does? It instantly restores half the vehicle and eliminates a whole lot of rust. Like, look at this chassis. This chassis is 100% covered in surface rust. Like, imagine blowing all this apart and what a nightmare getting all these bolts undone would be. Blasting everything, powder coating everything, putting it back together only to have springs that are sagging and control arms that are heavy and just stuff that's less cool.
Surprisingly, I only had one body mount bolt break on me, and that would be this one, which we can fix later. If we're replacing this section of the floor here, it'll be easy to get it out.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can put it back down, move the arms on our bed pack lift out to our rocker panels and lift. What would you do with the chassis? There's nothing wrong with it. It's rusty, but what would you do with it? Would you send it down the road to David Newbern or push it out in the alley? Tell me in the comments. All right, let's drop her down. Newbern is the Tri-5 king these days.
It seems to be, huh?
I bet this thing is so strong that if you take the body off the frame, the door gaps don't change much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's how the Caddy was. We pulled the Caddy off the frame, we were leaning on the front fenders and it didn't change the door gaps. Just spread them out as wide as we can and just cross your fingers. It may not want to come off right away. There may be, that last little thing that we didn't notice.
Oh, hold on.
All right, that's lifted the front of the car off, so.
Yeah, why?
Is the core support unbolted?
Yeah, it doesn't, there's only two bolts that hold that in the front down here. What am I missing? Wait, hold this for a second. Let me get my hood prop.
Snap-on tools. Holler at me, we need a real hood prop.
Yeah, right. There we go.
Yeah, the back started separating. I think, or the suspension's drooping, one or the other. Yeah, that's on there pretty firmly.
Yeah.
That didn't even try to come off the chassis. I feel like you might still have some chassis bolts in here. Did you get this one?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Nope. I did not.
Okay.
Those ones are hidden. Okay, let's put it back up on the...
All right. So there's a lot of body mounts in this thing, folks at home, including these ones right at the firewall, which are kind of hard to see. And I think those two are still in there. So we'll move the arms of the lift back inward to the chassis and lift it up again, get the bolts out, and then try this again. The ones right at the firewall come down and forward and land right here. You can imagine the firewall here and then comes down right there. You see these ones are kind of hidden between the firewall and the inner fender. And they're right here. You got this one. This is the one you can see. It's the ones that are hard to see.
Yeah, I guess I missed those ones up in that corner, huh?
Yeah, they're kind of hidden. I'm so glad we put lifts in the warehouse because there's no way I'd want to do this in my garage at home. It'd have been a nightmare. Not impossible, but a nightmare.
All right.
OSHA's calling.
They want the fender trim back.
OSHA's like, the work environment's not totally safe here.
So if I go right at this bend?
Yeah, go across and down and get rid of everything under here. Okay, left and right inner fenders. where they meet the firewall are trimmed out. And unless there's something else holding this up, I think she's ready for liftoff. Here we go.
Oh, slow down, go slow.
Looks like it's working.
It's working. We are free.
Talk to me.
What's that?
Talk to me.
I'm just checking. Oh, you going down?
Yep.
What you doing?
Watching the door gap.
Oh. Hold on.
Oh, something's hung back here. Because it started to go and then it started picking up the rear end.
Our bumper's hanging up on the rear, so I'm wondering if we need to disconnect the rear bumper.
What's it hanging on?
It's the bumper's hanging on the body.
Can we roll the chassis?
That's what I was wondering, if we could roll it back a little bit.
Because it started to go and then.
Yeah, come down a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, hold it right there. Okay, go up.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Let's put a strap across the front.
Okay, you got one?
Yeah, I'll get one out of the trailer.
Dude, that's a street freak right there. Whoa. It's a char. Dude, a monster wagon. That's what we got going on right there. All right, bumper's clear, frame's clear. Any other wires or anything hanging out here? So far, it doesn't seem like it. So far, our plan is working. Let's put the hood down too. This is really cool. I wonder if this is how they do it at the factory when they built the car. Did they just lower the whole body down?
Probably.
And then maybe once the body was on, then they put the glass in and all the other stuff. Seems like the faster way to do it.
Yeah.
The door gap opened a little bit, but not much. Actually, on this side, it didn't at all. Maybe it opened up a little bit, but so far it doesn't seem like structurally we're having an issue. So cool. Who gets to do this? We get to do this. Okay, ready?
Yep. Go slow.
Let's continue.
Hold on. I don't know what the hell that is. It's like there's a cable that's literally stuck inside the.
E-brake cable?
No, inside the trans mount. Look at this.
Speedo?
I don't think it's a Speedo. Nope. I don't know what this one is, but look at it. It's literally inside the transmission mount. See it going right through the trans mount? The front right here?
Talking about this?
Yeah. Look at it going through the mount.
Okay, go grab something.
I got something better here.
That looks like e-brake cable. It looks like it just got drug into it.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Cut it?
Oh yeah, let's just death wheel it.
Okay.
This is like the one time divorce is probably a good thing and not a bad thing. Right here.
It reminds me of my childhood, where I just take stuff apart.
Yeah, as a kid, I took everything apart. I just never put it back together.
Okay.
TV remote, erector set, toys, games. I took everything apart. Most of the time it didn't go back together. I like to feel like as an adult I'm better at it. I'm putting things together.
My bicycle stuff as a kid, when I had a bike, I would rip it all apart because I didn't like the color of the anodizing and strip all the anodizing off and polish it.
You were way more classy than I was. I never did any of that. I just took it apart. Look at that, we did it. The only thing we need out of this old frame is the motor.
Yeah.
We're not using the old transmission, nothing. I'm gonna call Newbern. Get over here.
Tell him it's going in the alley, bud.
Take this thing for one of your 38 projects. Yeah. Oh, you got a plasma cutter for that. So one of the major changes that will happen is we'll be going from leaf springs to coilovers, which is nothing more than a shock and a coil spring in one. You know, as you guys can see here, separate damper to control the movement of the axle with a leaf spring that provides the load carrying capability. We're also going to get rid of these old drum brakes, which is awesome. And then up front, we'll be going from factory A-arms with a coil spring and shock combo to a beam type front axle. This will be a tube, solid straight axle, which is mounted with leaf springs. And that will provide the load carrying capability as well as lateral control left to right. On our new chassis with our 9-inch axle from Quick Performance, the load is carried by the coilover springs, dampened by the shocks on the inside there. And then the movement of the axle is dictated by the ladder bars fore and aft, but the left to right movement of the axle, that is dictated by what people call a panhard bar or a track bar. Does this have fewer body mounts or the same number as the stock chassis?
The same amount, but the rears are different, and that's what I just sent.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 14. 1, 2,
So I'm not sure.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah.
Get a mount that does it. It's just a rubber mount that we can bolt through.
That's probably not the end of the world.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right. Have you got enough of them pried off that we can roll this chassis out of the way?
Yeah.
We'll send it right out into the alley for David Newbern. I just traded this to Newbern for beer. I didn't specify what or how much, and since he doesn't drink beer, that's kind of dangerous. So I'll text him again and say, we need, I think 8 cases is fair. 8 cases of Yingling, I feel like, is a fair swap.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the lemon one we had?
Summer Shandy from, what was that?
Yeah, you can't give him a choice, so he's going to bring you Bud Light.
That's a good point. Okay, 8 cases of Yingling Lager for the factory chassis, rear end, transmission, suspension, brakes, all that stuff. We are keeping the small block. That seems fair. Old chassis out. New chassis almost ready to go in. We don't have our new body mounts for it yet, like the bushings or the bolts. They're coming in the mail today. So for now, we'll pry out the old ones, put them in our new chassis, roll our new chassis under the body, start lowering that down to see, do the wheels and tires we fit clear? Did we get the axle width right? Will this bolt on like it's supposed to? My assumption is that because it's a gasser, it's not gonna have inner fenders because of our fender well headers, and we probably have to do some more trimming there. For the most part, I believe that chassis should bolt into this car or any other Tri-5. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, if we put the dollies under it, it'll be easier to shift it and line it up.
Those are not the most convenient things to push around.
Yeah, they're kind of a one at a time thing. So much easier.
Okay.
Then it needs to go forward.
Too far. This goes right through
Let's
here.
start lowering it down. Okay, you gotta pull it to your side. Okay.
Close. I think we're clear. How are we going front to back?
We're getting close. Just lower it some more and I'll keep an eye on it. Hold on a second. We're stuck on something and it's gotta go backwards some. Dude, it looks cool without a bumper.
Without it?
Yeah. All right, everybody. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna trim this out of the way because this is in our way. And to be honest, we probably ought to just keep going, cut this whole thing right here because this is gonna be in the way of the headers. See this cut that you made? Straighten it up and just keep it going all the way up and cut out the inner fender right there. It's not a bad stance if you're looking to climb mountains, but we're not trying to do that, so we will continue lowering the body onto our fresh chassis. Just as soon as we do a little trimming to the inner fenders, which will help clear a body mount and it'll help us fit our fender exit headers.
How are we looking?
Keep going. We're doing great. Okay, hold it. Oh, fell right in the holes for the front cross member. Yeah, it fell right in the holes for the front cross member.
Sweet.
If you're not into the white walls, if you're like, that's too custom and not enough gasser, they're reversible. They're black walls on the inside, so you can roll either way. If only my wife understood that about shoes. Like, you don't need all of the shoes. Just get one pair of shoes for multiple outfits. All right, might have a little contact there. So far, I think it's okay.
Can you go up, Mike?
Sure.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going?
Yep. Okay. There's still bolts hanging through these things.
Hanging through what things?
Through the, where this mount goes.
All right, can you lower it down some? There we go. All right, front mount is on. Back of the car's got to go down.
Yeah, a lot.
Keep going. It will for sure have a gasser stance because the front of the body is on and the back's about to come down a whole bunch. Question is, do the tires clear? It looks like it's touching on this side.
It's gotta shift this way a little.
Okay. Yeah, right now I've got several inches of room. Here, we'll tag team it. You push it over while I lower it down.
Go up a little more. What's it hanging on?
Probably the inner fender.
No.
It's also possible the front of the gas tank or footwell area might be touching something. It looked like it was kind of close.
Oh, you know what? Go back up. I see your problem. Remember those little tabs I told you I needed to take off?
Nope, but I'll go back up.
Yeah, it's got to go all the way up.
Okay. Going up. So we got to do a little trimming?
No, remember I told you I had to get those two mounts off right there in the middle? Once we got it separated and I forgot. Those have to come off. They're hitting the crossmember for the trans, or for that tunnel.
That's
probably good.
They just unbolt. It looks
We can
like.
make it work.
Here, I'll hold this. It looks like they just unbolt.
I don't know where this came from.
Other than that, I feel like we're doing pretty good. All right, down again. You want to check the front, make sure the 2 bolts line up?
Yep.
This is so cool. I love putting rusty old parts right next to shiny, beautiful, brand new ones. Wow. Yeah, these wheels and tires may actually work out perfectly. If we had bolts and bushings, we could put this up in the air on the chassis right now. Dude, look at the stance.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, huh?
That is so cool.
It's gonna be rad. Headers coming out of there. Yeah, buddy. But the only thing that's stopping us from really like fastening this thing down, how's the mounts look?
It needs
See,
to go
that one's
back.
off.
It says it needs to go backwards, but you have the front one in.
I know. And there too.
Huh. Unless this mount up front bent a little bit. This is when you have to be a hot rodder to actually do this, because here's the thing, this is a direct bolt-in Tri-5 chassis that we're putting a Tri-5 body on top of, and the body mounts don't line up perfectly. And it's nobody's fault, these things just happen. You know, you've got variances in the production of the body, you got variances in the production of the chassis. You add that up, sometimes you're like, hey, my mounts are an inch off. And really, it could just be the one mount, the very front one under the core support. That's what we first located everything off of. And when you do that, the other body mounts on the front half of the chassis are about, I don't know, inch and a half off. Here's the very front cross member in the car. This locates these 2 posts at the bottom of the core support. And because we let that go in first, it shifted the chassis forward, and now all of the body mounts, and you can see one right there, all of the body mounts are off about an inch and a half. The body is shifted rearward. The body needs to come forward and the chassis needs to go backwards. So what we're gonna have to do is make a plan for relocating this. And unfortunately the chassis is already powder coated, because the right move is to cut this cross member off the chassis, move it backwards and weld it back in, but the body's already powder coated. So in an effort to preserve, the chassis is already powder coated. So in an effort to preserve the powder coating, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is cutting these studs off the bottom of the core support, shoving the body backwards, and then creating a bolt-on mount off the rear of this cross member that these studs can then drop into. I think that
If those studs go back an inch and a half, where does it put them?
it puts them right on the other side of this.
On the other side of it?
Yeah, you might not even be able to get a nut on them
really?
because this is like an inch and an eighth from here to here.
Oh.
So we're probably gonna have to cut them off, slide it back, and then make a mount that through bolts this way and then this way, and put an L bracket on it. And it'll work, it'll be fine, but that way we're not welding on the chassis and ruining the powder coat. Moving to the rear of the car, we have to do a little trimming because the factory shock mounts here in the floor on the Wagon land right on top of the factory coilover mounts on our new chassis. No big deal. And my guess is if you're not doing a Wagon, if you have a 2-door, 4-door sedan, whatever, that might not be the same issue. The other thing is the factory gas tank lands right on top of the panhard bar mount. Now Joe went ahead and moved it out of the mount, which is here, 2 tabs with the rubber bushing and the threaded rod end in here. He moved it on the other side of it to clear it, which I think probably solves one problem but then creates others. The first problem I see is as the axle cycles up at full bump, this part of the pumpkin probably ends up hitting the bar. Maybe, maybe not. But the other thing is you now have both ends of the panhard bar in single shear, which means there's one tab on the bolt, nothing on this side. Same on that side. I'm fine with one side, like that side, only being in single shear, but not the frame side. There's a lot of force on this, a lot of twisting as the rear end of the chassis articulates. So what we'll end up doing is knocking the powder coating off here, adding a second tab to put the bolt through, and then cutting this one off. Again, really not a big deal. And yeah, so right now we'll cut the factory shock mounts off and then lower it down again to see are there any other issues we have to address before locking the body on. More death wheel, Joe? Sawzall? What do you feel like? Sawzall, death wheel?
Death wheel.
I don't like the death wheel right next to the gas tank, because that's really assuming that everything involving the filler neck is airtight, which it probably isn't. So I would Sawzall it and save you and me and the folks at home who are watching this video the potential trauma of blowing up the car.
Just a small fire.
It's not so much a fire as an explosion that concerns me. Fumes.
Boom, boom, out go the lights.
Yeah. All right. So let's Sawzall that, and then we'll set the body down again. Here's a bit of trivia for you guys. Speedway Motors supplied all the accessories to put this thing together, and that includes new bushings and mounting bolts to put the body on the frame. And why am I highlighting that fact? Well, it's because long, long time ago, well before the TV show Street Outlaws was ever a thing, I met Asian, AKA Jeff Bonnet, because he was the dude you called when you worked at a magazine and you needed bushings for a project vehicle. So I've known that dude forever. Boy, was I surprised the first time I saw episode 1 of Street Outlaws and went, hey, it's Jeff from Energy Suspension.
No, it's Asian.
It's Asian. All right. Bolts for you. I have a crude diagram.
A crude diagram?
Yeah. Of where everything goes. Some vehicles may not use all parts supplied in the set. You know what that means. Bonus washers for other projects. Yes! So it goes big washer, upper bushing, frame, lower bushing, big washer, big washer. 2 washers on them. So starting from the top, washer, upper bushing, sleeve, frame, lower bushing, big washer, big washer. Two big washers on the bottom, yeah. So when you cram the nut on there, it doesn't deflect.
Okay, so I have
55 to 57 Chevy, including regular station wagon. That's us.
So would it be one of those big washers and one of these big washers?
They are 2 different part numbers, so yeah. Fresh Energy Suspension bushings and body mounts. Thank you, Speedway Motors. Thank you.
That should do it.
Oh, hold on. We're off just a hair. All right, this side of the chassis needs to go forward a little bit. Can you pull the chassis forward on the driver's side?
Barely.
There you go.
Right there?
Yep. All right. Now we can go down. There we go.
Looking good?
Yep, looking good. All right, front is on. Very nice. Front is on. Wheelbase looks pretty decent in the wheel well.
It looks much better in the rear. If you check the rear, it's got a lot of clearance now on where it was in the front right here. For money. Look at that.
Oh, yeah,
Tucking tire.
Much happier.
Up in the front. This thing's badass.
Someone's getting a cool car. Today. Literally today. I mean, they won't know today, but today's the last day to find out whether or not.
No, Mike, come on, let them think. We finished this whole thing in one day. Quality work.
I mean, the body will be on in one day, for sure. But today is the last day to enter for a chance to win this car, so this is it. Dude, I love gassers, and a gasser station wagon is just epic. Tail fins, the white walls, the whole thing is working for me. All right.
That's weird.
There's our second mount, which looks like it's pretty good. There's a little gap there. You might have to add a couple washers to space it.
Yeah, the middle mount.
Front one is on. This lines up fine. This lines up. We need another washer right in there, another spacer to take up that gap. This sits on there just fine. This one, I'm guessing this is different because it's a station wagon, because there's nothing there for that, which isn't a big deal. We have a front mount, another front mount, a middle mount, and then if we come back here, you got another middle mount right here, which needs another little spacer put into it. And then you got the back mounts right here. So it's going great. Stock gas tank is still there, which is awesome because that's a time saver. All right, we're done-ish. Small block is out. Old chassis going to New Bern for 8 cases of Yingling Lager. Thank you, New Bern. I don't think he knew how many cases it was worth, but to me, 8 cases seems reasonable. Now it's time to push the car off underneath the lift because chassis swap is pretty much finished. 6 of the, 14 body mounts are actually bolted together, and the rest will finish at my house when we're ready to put the small block in the chassis with our new TKX transmission. In the meantime, let's just roll it out and drool, right? Let's just celebrate. Let's just celebrate the one-day change from sedate sedan to amazing, hellacious gasser station wagon. And some of you might be going, hey, if I win that wagon, I'm not into the white walls. Don't worry, the inside of the tire, black wall. You can flip it out if you want. But I gotta be honest, I kinda like it. It matches the middle of the car right there. I know there's no engine in it, and it's gonna come down a little bit, but it is gonna be gangster when it's together, because look how aggressive that is.
Can we change our minds and not give it away?
It's too late.
Because I'm having regrets.
There's lawyers involved. There's literally nothing we can do anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact, I didn't even pick the winner. The lawyers picked the winner, and that's gonna happen end of December, but the contest ends right now. This video is going live December 8th, Sunday, and today is your last day to go to fsmgarage.com and enter for a chance to win this. You don't even have to buy anything. There's details on how to do that if you want to write in your entry, but if you buy stuff, shirt, hat, hoodie, sticker pack, it increases the chances of you maybe putting this in your garage. Booking this, parking this. Right? Dude.
Look, you can actually see over the hood of this thing. There's not a big giant blower sticking in front of you so you can't see.
That means it's not as cool as Blasphemy. And right now, they're both the same, in terms of reliability. This one doesn't move. But it will, because now it's going to go home to my house, and the next video you see will be us putting the drivetrain in this, then wiring it and plumbing it, and hopefully New Year's Eve doing a burnout in it as we reveal live on the internet who won this awesome car. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah,
that doesn't really want to move. She's stiff. She's definitely not going to ride the same, but she doesn't look the same either.